Let's get uncomfortable. The Kings are being sued, and once again, they are on the wrong side of normal.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily Sacramento Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. I am James Hammer, Kings Insider for ESPN 1320, the Kings Beat, and host of Locked On Kings. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Join all the action at FanDuel.com to play daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer this MLB season. All right, let's dive into our three keys. And as we do, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, help with the algorithm of life, all that stuff. Our first block, we're going to dive into the Kings are being sued by a former employee. This is going to get awkward. It's not an easy conversation, but we'll dive into it. Number two, where does the team go from here after all of this? Lastly, in the final block, we're going to tuck this in. It's completely off topic. But DeMar DeRozan has officially found a new team. So Sacramento King, former Sacramento King, finds a new home. All right. Political consultant Chris Lahane used to use this phrase during the Kings relocation saga. And I think it resonated with me and it sticks with me all the time. It's a knife fight in a phone booth, right? It stuck with me because I think it's an interesting phrase for sure, right? But I think it actually, for being so short, it captures so much, right? It's a descriptive way of like sort of making sense. And the problem with getting in a knife fight in a phone booth is that no one comes out unscathed, and half of the wounds that you're looking at on your body are likely self-inflicted because there's no space. That's why you shouldn't get in a knife fight in a phone booth. Um, but I think this describes a lot of the last 16 plus seasons that I've covered the Sacramento Kings. Um, I used to hear this statement all the time. Winning cures all. Just wait. Winning cures all. And I think the problem that I have is number one, the winning never happened. And his self-inflicted wounds continued. So again, during my time in Sacramento, again, this will be my 17th season as a fully credentialed media member. We've seen 2 or 3 relocation attempts, your choice, however you want to look at them. That again, Virginia Beach, you can throw in there or not, but 2 full blown, right? Multiple DUIs, multiple. Like I don't even know if I can count how many. I'm sure I could. It's not that many, but multiple DUIs, right? A domestic violence case, a business VP who stole $14 million from the franchise and almost got away with it. He did get away with it for years and then somehow left a TurboTax document on a laptop that he turned in when he left the organization that showed a separate business that he stole all this, how he transferred all this money to himself and started buying houses. Absolutely crazy. Um, we've seen a head coach get hired and in that same week get hit with a sexual assault allegation. We've seen a situation between the owner's daughter and a G League player, and then that player would go on to allegedly commit murder on the same day he actually played for the Sacramento Kings, the Stockton Kings, in a game in Las Vegas. So the latest news hit late last week when a former trainer sued the Kings for allegedly, she's alleging pregnancy discrimination, sexual harassment, retaliation, and wrongful termination, right? It's a complicated set of documents that include allegations from a former athletic assistant athletic trainer named Crystal Lee, who worked for the team from 2022 to 2025. We're a long ways from the Kings being found guilty or liable of any wrongdoing here. But the court of public opinion is once again like shaking its head at the Kings organization. This is where you get Kangs, right? Um, while neither are being named as defendants in the suit, the documents include negative interactions with head coach Doug Christie when he was an assistant coach under Mike Brown, as well as allegations of a dismissive comment from Scott Perry when he was asked to intervene in Lee's employment situation before she was eventually terminated. Uh, Lee was eventually let go by the organization after being demoted or having her title changed multiple times. Her departure came around the same time that the team reset a large number of roles within the organization following Scott Perry's hire and evaluation of the basketball ops side and the business side. Remember this whole thing about Scott Perry interviewing everyone in the building, which is what happened. He did. He interviewed everyone in the building, and there's actually a lot of people that were let go or chose to go on to different things during that transition time, and it's a lot more than people think. I mean, we're not talking about like 5 employees left. We're talking about a lot of employees that left during that transition. Some left again on their own. Some left because the Kings decided to go in different directions. The team released a following statement through ESPN, who broke the news on this whole story. The Sacramento Kings categorically deny these allegations and reject the characterization of the organization and its workplace reflected in these claims made by a disgruntled former employee. The Kings take allegations of discrimination and harassment seriously and are committed to maintaining a workplace where all employees are treated with dignity and respect. The organization intends to vigorously defend against these claims through the legal process and will not comment further on pending proceedings. Right? So, pretty strong statement. Uh, that's King's attorney told ESPN that. Jason Anderson added a couple of more source material pieces in addition to also having the statement from the Kings. If you go to the SACB, you can find the article from Jason Anderson. He stated that sources close to the team told the Bee that at no point during Lee's employment did she report the sexual advances she now alleges. Secondly, a source said it was Lee who initiated the need for a role change, saying the organization worked proactively and in good faith to create a modified role to fit her needs. The new role included the same compensation as her assistant athletic trainer position, a source told Jason Anderson. Lee also agreed to that role, performed in it for a significant period of time, and only later claimed that the same arrangement was discriminatory once she became dissatisfied with its limitations, sources said. At the same time, Lee had documented performance issues in the modified role, which was the reason for her termination, sources told the Bee. So, lots of he said, she said in here, and some strong words from the Kings, who, according to the ESPN article that came out, quoted directly from her attorney, basically said that the Kings have had time. We made this is according to Lee's attorney, right? We made prior efforts to resolve this matter with the Kings that were unsuccessful. We did attend a mediation with the Kings in an effort to resolve this, right? So again, this is one of those situations where, in a lot of ways, a lot of organizations, a lot of large businesses would prefer to not have the bad press and to just work something out behind the scenes and have this go away. That is not the path the Kings have chosen in this situation. I don't know what that means. Again, the Kings have their documentation. Maybe Miss Lee has her own documentation about situations that she had, ways in which she had gone to HR or to her direct supervisors. It should be noted her direct supervisor is also named. It's the Sacramento Kings and the direct supervisor that are named in this case. So it's complicated, but to be honest, it's like it feels like we're in the same cycle again and again, and I hope that that stops. So we're going to step aside and we're going to try to unpack some of this. But again, this is a very complicated situation, And I want to make sure that you understand that we're going to walk through this very slowly because under no circumstance am I going to take sides one way or another, because this thing still needs to play out in a court of law or however it plays out in the end. And I want to give the both of these sides their opportunity to present their case. All right, we're going to step aside. When we come back, more on this topic. Locked on Kings is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a homer in their game. If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day through the MLB season. Daily Dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your predictions before the first pitch. Sometimes it's a hitter who's been on a hot streak, a favorable pitching matchup, or even a ballpark that tends to give up home runs. Those are always the first things I look for before making my daily dingers picks. To be honest, I focus on the Sacramento A's because it's a team that I watch, especially when they're playing at Betterhelp Park. It is a homer dome. They've got all kinds of players that are still hitting home runs, even though their win-loss record is not very good. If one of the A's players doesn't resonate with you, highly suggest you look at one of the players that they're playing against, especially if they're playing at Sutter Health Park. This is a team that gives up a lot of home runs, especially that bullpen that is a disaster, right? So are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at fanduel.com. That's fanduel.com to play daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of MLB. Locked On Kings is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. All right, let's dive into this a little bit. Again, this is dicey stuff. It just is. We live in a country that you are innocent until proven guilty. I just want to say that first and foremost. That doesn't change the fact that from the outside, the court of public opinion is very quick to judge. And in this situation, like so many others, the Kings have a negative track record for handling certain things. And of course, they end up having this situation go viral. And, some of the comments made in this document have gone viral. And, so again, I want to make sure that we touch base on this. Lee's attorney said we have made prior efforts to resolve this matter with the Kings that were unsuccessful. We did attend a mediation with the Kings in an effort to resolve this before going public, before going more than public. I mean, you went to ESPN, right? So now let's get into some of the finer nuances here. I have been honest here, and I've been honest everywhere that you can find my work. I have a long-standing relationship with Doug Christie, right? We were together at NBC for a long time. We had a podcast together for like 3 years. And I know Doug Christie very well. The characterizations listed in Lee's complaint aimed at Christie are not something I have ever viewed myself. But I also have never seen interactions between these two individuals. I have not. I don't know Crystal Lee. So I am not going to make some opinion one way or another on whether anything she said about the current head coach of the Sacramento Kings is true or not. I have no idea. Again, at this point, the Kings are very wise to not make any more comments on this situation. Again, this isn't a place for me to take a side or describe every interaction that I've ever seen Doug Christie have in order to be a character witness for him. The one thing I will say is that what I saw from Doug is in one aspect is that he was overly cautious every time he took photos with fans. I took plenty of photos for him with fans. I took a lot of photos. And there's something that Doug would do that I don't know that a lot of other professional, athletes or people in the spotlight, the media spotlight do. And that is that Doug wouldn't physically touch people. And that's because he was worried about some of these exact things. He literally had a policy where he did not touch people, which means if you have a picture with you and Doug Christie and he's got his hands hovering by your shoulders, you should know that Doug didn't have those hands on you. They're floating behind you. And that's something that Doug was always cognizant of. And again, I'm not going to say that that means anything in this discussion because there is no allegations that Doug Christie touched anyone in this situation. There, there are allegations that he was leering or staring or checking someone out, right? So again, it's not my place to throw my backing one way or another. The truth, one way or another, will eventually come out. And as of now, we have claims and we have allegations, right? It should be noted that Doug Christie was not named as a party to the lawsuit. Neither was Scott Perry or Wes Wilcox or Phil Jabor, who were all mentioned in the complaint. In legal standards, this is kind of it kind of stands out. Although, again, the complaint can be amended down the road. But for right now, the complaint is only against the head trainer of the Sacramento Kings and the Sacramento Kings as an entity. So a lot of times you will see everyone under the sun thrown into this, whether like HR director or GM or a coach or multiple coaches. And then as the thing, people get released from the lawsuit as we get further and further into this, right? So I will also say the Kings had a shot to make this all go away quietly, and they chose not to, despite being accused of pregnancy discrimination, sexual harassment, retaliation, and wrongful termination. That is a lot of stuff, especially like in today's world. And that's a lot of things to be accused of. So I'll also add this, like, no matter what, this isn't a good look for the organization. No one should be made to feel like they've been discriminated against, especially someone who's pregnant. And again, a female in this situation, the basketball breaking into the NBA is not easy. It's especially for women. It's a organization that is trying to get better at it. The Kings in the past have been one of the leaders in bringing in females into not just the business side or the PR side, the organizational side, but also the coaching side. This is something that they have done, not only the coaching side, but the player development side, all of that. They have been ahead of a lot of teams in the league in making a situation where women can not only be part of an organization, but actually move up. Lindsey Harding was a player development coach, an assistant coach, and then ran the G League team, right? So again, there are often situations where employees have walked away from the franchise feeling less than stellar about their employment and how it worked out. That happens when you run a business as large as the Kings. But again, I just want to make sure a hostile work environment is completely unacceptable, and hopefully that is not something that's happened here or is currently happening to others. Again, we live in a society where you are innocent until proven guilty. But we also live in a society where a blind eye has been turned way too often. It's likely that we will not see any conclusion to this situation anytime soon, especially since it appears that the franchise is ready to fight the allegations, and the attorney for the other side has said the same thing. The case will go to an initial case management conference on June 8th, 2027. So again, this isn't like most likely getting figured out anytime soon. And if we learn more, we'll discuss further. As for why I personally waited a few days to discuss this, because here and there you get called out on social media for not jumping in the fray and saying something. these things are awkward, and sometimes you need a minute to digest the information that's being put out there. Being reactive isn't always the best policy, especially when there are legal allegations being made. And again, uh, this is one of those situations that is very sensitive. And again, I think that if there was wrongdoing here, then we'll see how that works out and we'll see what punishments are laid out. But also, we have to understand that maybe there wasn't wrongdoing, and maybe the Kings are correct that there is a disgruntled employee. I don't know the answer to this, and I'm not going to sit here and play judge and jury on a podcast because that's not good journalism and it's not a good way to conduct business. So, on a final note, though, this is a type of chaos that the franchise doesn't need. And it's also the type of outside noise that has plagued this organization for a long time. I'm not putting the blame on current ownership. I'm not putting on a specific general manager or the past people. It's something that's gone on for a long time. A lot of the things that I discussed at the beginning of this, whether DUIs or just the chaos of this organization, some of it was different ownership. A lot of it was different ownership. A lot of it was just different people in the organization completely. And so it's really tough. But when you have things like this that continuously happen, it does put a sort of black eye on your franchise. And so hopefully this thing is figured out and that we can move forward. But at some point, this has to be about basketball. And I really do hope that eventually this organization figures out a way to have that happen. And again, it's not easy. There's a lot of moving pieces, but it should be easy to avoid super, super negative situations. So again, there should be a basic standard here. Let's hope that something is being created right now behind the scenes. The nonsense really needs to stop. So we'll figure this all out in the end, I guess. But let's step aside. When we come back, DeMar DeRozan uh, found a new team. He passed on a chance to play in South Beach, but he's back in the league and he's ready to put up more points. So we'll be right back. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all in one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place. Odoo is one platform to manage, grow, and scale your business. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent, it's about having everyone working towards the same goal. And that's true in sports, just like it is in business. So, great organizations win because operations matter. And that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/locked on. That's ODOO.com/locked on. Okay. We've moved past our previous 2 blocks to something different. Okay, if you listened to our last podcast, we took a very deep dive into the DeMar DeRozan salary situation. Of course, DeMar DeRozan is no longer a Sacramento King, but his salary situation still has to be finalized by the team, which will come in like the next week or so. As I'm recording this, it's the 23rd. By the time you're watching this, it's probably the 24th. We have until the 31st. In the meantime, DeMar DeRozan has officially moved on from the Kings, and he is going to join the Denver Nuggets. Wow, botch that. He had lined up potential landing spots in Miami and Washington, with, of course, the Heat and the Wizards. But then he took a sharp turn after the Peyton Watson situation went sideways and crazy, and he signed a sign and trade deal with the Cleveland Cavaliers that got him his money, but also left the Denver Nuggets shorthanded and in a situation where their financial cap situation is just like completely out of hand. So I'm not sure what went into this decision, but DeRozan inked a 1-year, $3.9 million deal to join Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray in Denver. And this could be a fun fit. At 37, DeRozan continued to prove that he still has a lot of tread on his tires last season. With the Kings, he averaged 18.4 points, 4.1 assists, 2.9 rebounds. He also shot 49.7% from the field and 32% from three while averaging 31.2 minutes over 77 games. I also want to bring up that DeRozan started the first 64 games of the season with the Kings last year before he missed a game due to illness. And the other 4 games he missed of the 82 came in the last 2 weeks of the season when the Kings were going young. So DeRozan currently sits in 16th place on the NBA's all-time scoring list with 26,711 points. He's just 400 points away from the great Moses Malone, who sits in 12th place with 27,596 points. He's also 1,885 points away from tying Shaquille O'Neal, for 10th place on the all-time scoring list, which is bonkers. DeMar DeRozan has an opportunity to be in the top 10 all-time in scoring in NBA history. Now, in order for him to get into the top 10, it's probably going to take 2 seasons. That's a lot of points to score. This last season in Sacramento, he scored a little over 1,400. He can probably get there, but it's going to take like probably 2 seasons and maybe even a third. And look, this is an incredible career he's put together, and it'll be interesting to see how he fits with the Nuggets. They're again struggling with cap issues, but they still have a ton of talent. They were 3rd in the Western Conference last year. Nikola Jokic averaged a triple-double and is one of the greatest players that we've ever seen. He was 2nd in MVP balloting again. So maybe he finds a short-term home in Denver. Maybe he's a bridge to something different after they lost Peyton Watson. But this is it's a pretty cool landing spot for DeRozan. I do think that there's a chance he could fight for a starting job. And to be honest with you, whatever DeMar DeRozan wants to do with his career after this, like, good for him. He was a very good King over the last 2 years. I did not think he would play 2 seasons in Sacramento. Just the first season, the way it ended with coaches getting, with Mike Brown getting fired, De'Aaron Fox getting traded, and again, DeRozan being really honest about never having to go through chaos like that in his entire career, and being very caught off guard by a coach getting fired midseason, which he had never seen, which is absolutely crazy because I've seen so many coaches get fired midseason. It's wild. But he did come back last year, and I thought he accepted what it was that the Kings were, and he played his game, and he was a beacon of professionalism from start to finish. When he spoke to the media, it was great. He was absolutely spectacular with us the entire season. I watched him. We had the situation where, again, another NBA player missed that a young fan was waiting for him on the baseline to sign a jersey, and ran right past this kid. And DeMar DeRozan watched it unfold from a ways away and walked right over, took a picture with the kid, signed an autograph for him. He's just a pro's pro and a good dude. And so if you're a Kings fan, most of the time you have to watch your former players go out and find success somewhere else. That's just kind of the way it goes in Sacramento. But I think DeMar DeRozan's going to fit right into that. I think a lot of Kings fans will look at the box score here and there and make sure that they're checking in to see how DeMar DeRozan's doing, and especially as he looks to go from 16th to 15th to 14th to 13th to 12th to maybe more than that on the all-time scoring list, and he climbs that list at it's just wild to watch a player who's 37 years old go out there and play 77 games and average almost 32 minutes a night. Again, hat tip to DeMar DeRozan. He's a real one. So, all right. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to follow me on social media at James_Ham NBA, and make sure to subscribe and follow Locked On Kings so you get all the latest episodes. Hit the notification button so you get alerted when we post. Jump into the comments section. Again, this is a touchy subject that we talked about today. It's uncomfortable subject. It's uncomfortable for me. I'm sure it's uncomfortable for a lot of people to listen to. So, but I do appreciate you tuning in. So thanks for making Locked On Kings your first listen of the day. For your second listen, find the Locked On NBA podcast where there is no offseason. Wes, Matt, and Hayes keep you up to date on contract negotiations, rumors, and everything you need to be the most informed NBA fan. Find Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks. We'll see you tomorrow.